Knicks are back, baby.
Take note.
Big Meech!
We're here.
My man, Alex just did.
It's different this time.
What's up, guys? So we're gonna talk about last night's game. We're gonna talk about Stephen A. Smith. You haven't seen it yet, so we're gonna get
We're gonna watch it
some
live.
live reactions, and then we're gonna talk about the franchise, where we are, the future, the playoffs, all that good stuff. So let's kick it off. We were at the Garden last night.
Last night's game.
Statement game against Boston. This is big money. You could feel it in the air. We get to the Garden. The vibes are there. How are we gonna perform?
Playoff vibes.
Playoff vibes.
Lots of Boston fans there because
Yeah,
a lot
they-
of Boston people live here in New York. And
They
maybe,
leave.
And maybe they travel.
They leave Boston to come here and then talk trash about our city.
They were talking so much trash. They have a little chant going on. There were Boston fans in front of us and behind us. Wasn't feeling that. However, I have to admit that through the entire game, because Boston is such an elite team, and up until last night, they were the number one team in
Yep,
Eastern
on Eastern
Conference.
Conference, yep.
I think now they're tied with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Bucks to come over.
But the entire game last night, I was nervous. Like, I was legit nervous. It felt like a playoff game. The atmosphere was like that for sure. And even though we had that 22 points was the biggest lead that we had, I think we kept the lead for the entire game. Went down to 9, I think was the smallest lead that we had. I kept feeling like at any moment Boston was gonna turn to second or third gear and we were gonna be in trouble. I legit was watching the game, not realizing and looking up at the scoreboard and saying, "Oh shoot, we actually have the lead. We should be happy. I should be happy." Anyway, incredible effort by our guys. I cannot say enough right now about Mitchell Robinson and Emmanuel Quickly. Oh my goodness!
Yes!
Listen, Mitch gave us 13 rebounds. I loved watching him blocking those shots and grabbing the ball. It was great. It was great. I was so happy to see him there. And you mentioned something, I think maybe in the last show, where you said, him getting that injury kind of in a way helped us because it allowed us to develop Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yep.
Because he is going to be coming off the bench anyway. And it gave Mitch a little rest and to come back out and play because it's a long season. The only player that I know has played all of his games, maybe in the entire league, let me say, is Julius Randle.
Put in work in the pandemic like Julius Randle. Marlon Craft, a rapper, check it out. Dope song he made about Julius Randle. But yep, you hit the nail on the head. I love that you brought up Quickly and Mitch. 2 of our draft picks, 2 of our later draft picks.
Later draft picks at that. Performing better than
the high ones in Frank and Knox.
And Frank, RJ.
Ooh,
they are right now. They are performing better than him.
She's not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're coming in hot, but you're not wrong. All right, let's go back. Right, as we're looking through the team, the Knicks as a franchise, we've been through not having the draft picks, not having patience, not having our own players, or we're trying to get other players, right? Not having the developmental skills to get enough out of our players from the draft. You look at the team right now, we have so many of our drafted players playing, which is why this team feels like our team.
We built
this team.
We built this team,
right?
absolutely.
So look at a guy like Mitch, right? And I tweeted about him today. Follow me at NYK Terry on Twitter.
What happened to NYK
active.
Terry and Trey? It's just NYK Terry?
Are
you shortening it for them? Am I getting cut out?
I went in shorter. I don't want to represent your thoughts all the time. So
you see what's happening here,
damn.
right? Yeah. All right.
Damn.
I was gonna say something, but I can't say
anyway, rolling it back, right? I tweeted about this today. Mitch Robinson, drafted late. We know he missed that year. Didn't go to college. Doesn't play basketball for a year. Multiple agents, came from humble beginnings, kind of simpler beginnings. Moves to the big city. You're not really sure how he's gonna handle it. Distractions everywhere. The Knicks as a franchise are going through the Porzingis trade. Like there's some dysfunction. It's not like it's the cleanest franchise. 5-6 years later, look where we are. Look at this guy. Yeah. This is the success story. Absolutely. This could have gone a million different ways. No one would have cared. It would have been like, oh, the Knicks took a risk with this guy, but you could tell he had problems. He was never going to be in the league.
Right.
Instead, he's a functional starting center, hard worker, never complains, gets his job done. He's been better with the fouling, way better, right? Still gets his injuries here and there. That's one thing to watch. But Mitch, he has matured and grown so well, and for a franchise that doesn't really get any rep, and admittedly so for a recent history at least, not being able to develop players, we're proving it right now. And then Emmanuel Quickly, who I think is in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. I think he's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. People are not watching this guy defend. This guy is making plays. I love watching him at the Garden. He feeds off the energy of the crowd.
Yep.
He's another guy that just improved so much year after year.
He has. I mentioned both of them because they were, to me, outstanding players last night. So great game. Listen, we kept Boston down in the first quarter. We only kept them. They only scored 15 points, so that was a
good start. Yep.
But again, I am always wary when the Knicks start with a big lead. So last night was like almost like a turning point for me because I got to see them start with this big lead.
Right.
Yes, I was nervous because we were playing the Boston Celtics, but they kept the lead through the whole 48 minutes, and we came out with a nice, solid, strong win. Sent the Boston fans home, like with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We were saying goodbye to them.
Beautiful.
We were playing Hit the Road Jack and all of that nonsense. So it was great. It was a great game last night to see. Great to see this team molding and blending the way they are and working as a team.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would say at this point now, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later, is there is another gear that they have to step into to play in the playoffs.
That's factual, right? We gotta, we don't have the most playoff experience, so these guys, we're gonna have to see what we're doing. But I think Thibs has them playing at a playoff intensity all the time because of the kind of coach he is and how he feels about defense and how he feels about competing and how he rewards guys. Mm-hmm. So we're already geared. We're not relying, yes, in the offense, a lot of times we are relying on the talent of Brunson and Randall, but we're not just relying on laziness to get these points. Right? We're not gimmicking our way to these wins.
No.
We're working for every win. Right. There's some teams in the regular season, right? They're hitting crazy shots. It just feels great. They're flowing, right? And it's almost like, well, let's see what happens in the playoffs. And then they get hit by a truck, right? Whereas us, it feels like we're grinding and fighting for every win. We're playing at the kind of intensity we will be playing at anyway in the playoffs. Okay. And we're going to, that's right. Like you said, we got to tap into that
There's a next level.
So we'll see if we can do that. But I got to say, just speaking about the playoffs, last night was a playoff vibe. This team has been in a lot of big games recently, right? The pressure is there. You can feel it. I thought last night was crucial, and it's a statement game because, we were at a point where the media buzz is just kind of building, right? Mm-hmm. But now they're playing the Celtics at the Garden. Are they for real? Because now we're going to judge them unfairly still. Right. We're going to judge them on this one game. The Knicks came out. Don't even let Boston in it. They suffocate them. Yep. You see today, the noise is a little bit louder. We're going to talk about Stephen A. Smith very soon.
So you have a clip to show me.
Yes, I got a clip to show you. You want to do it? Say what you're going to say.
No. I was going to say that you have a clip to show me with Stephen A.
Let's go, Stephen A. All right, so... Alright, Stephen A. Smith on First Take this morning. Okay. Talking about his New York Knicks with Monica McNutt and JJ Redick.
Okay, well, Stephen Smith always does claim the Knicks is his. He says he bleeds yellow and...
Yeah, he bleeds yellow.
He bleeds
That's it, you got
it. He bleeds
That's what he would say. He doesn't even know players' names. Alright, let's check it out.
Tom Thibodeau is a Coach of the Year candidate. I ain't giving it to him over Mike Brown, but damn it, he's a Coach of the Year candidate doing an exceptional job. Tremendous job. Props to Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and the crew. Your quiet Jalen Brooks.
What is Worldwide West?
What crew? Steve Stout, Worldwide West. These guys are all hired. We don't see them at all. They're radio silence. But I will say this.
We're winning.
We're winning, and we don't know what they're doing in the background.
I guess
so maybe we need to be quiet and let them keep quiet, or maybe we need to talk and let them keep quiet because they're doing something right.
Here's the funniest thing, right? Worldwide West and Steve Stout are known for operating in the shadows. That's the whole point. The whole point is that they aren't officially the Dons, but they are behind the scenes. They make it happen. All right. So maybe that's what they're doing.
I'll take it. Bring the wins on.
They're greasing the right palms, all right.
One thing that will ruin this season, and that's if they get sent home by Donovan Mitchell. That better not happen. Now, I don't care if they lose to Boston.
That better not happen. That better not happen.
So I'm hearing this chatter all around because we were supposed to get Donovan Mitchell, right? So now Donovan Mitchell is going to want to come and play real hard against us.
Let's listen to the rest of this segment.
Ooh,
but the
okay.
funniest thing to me, Stephen A. Smith is just committed to this idea.
He is.
It's the own. He's going
He
to
said it
sleep.
yesterday. He said
He's
it
going to
yesterday.
sleep thinking about it. He's waking up in the morning thinking about it.
Let's go.
All he cares about in life right now is that Donovan Mitchell is going to kill us.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is
The person you could have had, if you were willing to give up R.J. Barrett and you held on to him, okay? I'm telling you what.
As my boy has a conniption there, let me say this.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett was in the trade. He was in there.
Oh.
They said no. What is he talking about?
Oh, so he has his facts wrong again.
Yeah, it's okay. RJ is literally in the trade. That's the trade they said no to.
So
you know what I'm saying?
They didn't want
They wanted more. They wanted Grimes. They wanted the unprotected picks. We didn't want to give up all that, right?
All right.
So this idea that RJ is the only reason we didn't want to get Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
Despite the fact it was also too early, and I will stand by that forever. I think this season is proof that it was too early, right? So we'll talk about that a bit more before the end of this show. But we're gonna continue here. This Donovan Mitchell fantasy that Stephen A. Smith
But I
has.
know. I like him.
Yo, but props to Stephen A. Smith. He's so good. You can hate him all you want. This dude knows how to entertain.
Oh, absolutely.
This
He's
dude-
definitely on the show's entertainment factor, and I do like listening to Stephen A. Smith because he's funny.
They gave him the bag.
That's funny.
They paid him a lot. He's making like an NBA salary.
He is.
He's warming up for games, coming out with the suit like, let's go, game time. MVP, 3 years running.
But damn it, he ain't the one that should have been on the phone negotiating with Danny Ainge. That should have been Leon Rose, but we're gonna let that go.
And I don't know if Donovan Mitchell and Julius Randle would have been a good match together.
Exactly. We weren't there yet, right? I still maintain that. I know people want to see that next step, but now I feel, don't you all feel way more comfortable making that next step? Not only do I think the younger guys are ready, the franchise is ready, the coach is ready, this, that, the other.
Right.
I also think for the rest of the league, right? We just crossed that point where we're like, if you're a guy, you're the guy somewhere and you're good and you're not happy with what you're doing, Luka Doncic or anyone else, SGA or over the Thunder. Thing is, if you feel like, yo, I don't want to be here anymore, and you look across, you see that the Knicks are literally, and you know what? We transitioned perfectly from this into the final segment.
So we want to talk about where the Knicks are going now, right?
We are one guy away
Right.
from winning an NBA championship.
I feel that.
Now I want to see it. I want to see it in the
feel
playoffs.
that.
I want to see it in the playoffs.
Okay.
I want to see them. To me, they gotta get to the second round.
They have to get the second round.
Right.
So I would say this
But, yeah.
about the team thus far, right? When we made the playoffs and got the 4th seed in the pandemic year, it was a fluke.
Yeah.
It was a fluke. We were all shocked. We were all surprised. Like, oh my goodness, the Knicks are in the playoffs. This year, it feels different. It's different this time. Thibodeau even said he made a comment about it. He said, no, that was last year and this is this year. Like it's a different
Yeah.
year. It's a different team. It's a different it's not a different team actually, which is what I like, that we've kind of kept a lot of the same guys, but I really do feel right now with us being the 5th seed that we like made it there like legit. Like we legit are a 5th seed. We're not like an accident. So I do want to see how how many more games we have left now.
Like
Like
18
games.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I know we have a really rough West Coast trip coming up.
Yeah.
However, I think that we can have some surprises there, and
Yeah.
it won't be a complete blowout. I think it's about 6 games that we have on the road.
We might
I think
play
we can-
Lakers without LeBron, by the way. He got injured.
I think we can
So-
win a solid 3 of those games.
Yeah,
Like-
I think
like,
it's a 6-game trip, so 3 and 3 would be amazing.
I think we can
Yeah.
win a solid 3 games there. I think that we can keep our standing in the 5th place. I feel like with other teams that are going to start losing, the Nets. We're gonna see how we play the Heat this Friday. That's gonna be an
I
interesting
think that's
matchup.
another statement game
Because-
to really the Heat have been floundering a little bit
Right.
and they don't look that serious. So if we can come out in a year where we should be better than the Heat, there should be no psychological block on that.
Right.
And you go and beat the Heat and say, yo, in Miami.
Right. We played them 3 times.
Yeah. So if
In
we
the-
can go
in
and
the
do that,
next-
I feel like if we win this game in Miami this
Yeah.
Friday convincingly, we'll win the last 2 as well. This summer we're gonna have free agency. There's no one really crazy
Right.
as a free agent this year.
Right.
But every time you go to the NBA offseason, 3 things happen you never expected. Right? Some person you think is perfectly happy, all of a sudden
Leaves.
he hung out with one wrong guy and he's like, yo, I'm leaving. Or he hung out with his boys somewhere and they're like, yo, come through. So we'll see, right? Anything can happen, but the best thing is we're right in a position where we can do it. And I really love the fact that we have our draft picks, we have our young players, we didn't give up all that. So the next thing we add to this
Is a star.
is perfect.
Is a star.
Yeah, and we have enough, and this is even better as we go deeper into it. Because we kept Fournier, because we kept Derrick Rose, and we didn't trade them.
We kept some good assets.
But also specifically, we can match salaries without having to give up 5 players to do so.
Right.
Because what if we were short salary for a player, and now we have to give up 2 guys because we couldn't just match salary?
Right.
Evan Fournier at 18 million. Don't get me wrong, you'll have to make up for that with picks. You'll have to still give them something good. But Evan Fournier at 18 million, right? I think Derrick Rose is at maybe like 12 million. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Right? You add 2 of those guys, and you add in someone like Juice McBride or maybe Obi Toppin if you need to. All of a sudden, you already match a superstar.
Right.
And then you add 3-4 picks. Boom. So you're adding. Imagine this, right? We use a 9-man rotation. The guys I mentioned don't play.
Right.
So imagine you're keeping everything we have. Maybe you lose Grimes. Let's say you lose Grimes, right? At the worst, right? So at worst you got superstar, then Randall, Brunson, RJ, Mitch, quickly Isaiah, right? Hart, right? And then maybe you still have someone else who's pretty decent.
So let me ask you something. This superstar, right, that is going to come here, does he have to be? This probably doesn't. Does he have to be someone who's a superstar now, playing for another team now, or, and this is probably going to sound stupid because we probably don't do this, or can we draft a superstar? And the reason that I say that is because I have always liked this homegrown team, and right now we have that homegrown team. I never wanted LeBron. I kind of did want KD. I ain't gonna lie.
I still want KD.
No,
if KD said he was coming now, I'd be like, bet.
I kind of wanted.
You made a
KD,
mistake in Brooklyn, come through.
But out of all the stars, I never really wanted a star to come here. I never really wanted that big. Even Luka's, and I love Luka. He's amazing. But to me, he fits with Dallas, and he's Dallas's guy. To me, Dallas fans should be pissed if he asks for a trade. Right? I guess that's kind
because
of
he's getting more and more.
What KD was for us.
Yeah.
In a way, if you want to really look at it.
But Luka's been there longer and Luka's done more. Luka's not been given any help in Dallas. I don't give a... Listen, Luka got his issues. He got to work on his conditioning a little bit. He's got to stop arguing with the refs. He's got to be a bit more focused. But I'll tell you this with Luka. That team, they've not built a good team around him. He's been a superstar.
By
right?
himself.
On a rookie deal.
By himself.
So he's not making any money. And they messed up with the KP trade. It was a bad trade. They rushed into it. They should have just played out that year and gotten into the draft.
Okay.
They messed up, and then they kept making more mistakes. And even this Kyrie thing, we'll see how well it works. But I don't really think it's going to work out long term at all. So I do think, right? We're going to end the show right here. But I do think that a star has to see what's going on in New York. And you bring up drafting someone. At this point, they don't really want to draft. They don't want to do that anymore. They already feel like they've gone beyond that.
They did that.
But there's a guard this year. You know, Victor Wembanyama's going to go number 1. But Scoot Henderson, I like this kid a lot. I would love if the Knicks were the kind of franchise that said, let me give up 2 picks and get Scoot Henderson. Because he's going to be a superstar, potentially. And add him to this team now. Let him learn and grow. I would love that. But obviously, I think the next step is really, honestly, for us to take that next step forward, right? You don't come this far to bet on a kid. You come this far to make a serious bet.
Right.
The next bet we make with a superstar should, and like realistically, unless there's catastrophe, mean the next 6-7 years we're excellent
like
team.
a good contending team.
Like a good contending team.
So,
It's not the Nuggets every year are one of the best teams in the league. Even if they don't get to the finals, even if they don't win, but every year they're a 1 or 2 seed or a 3 seed.
Right.
That's what we're going to be. We're going to be a team. The Heat. Look at the Heat, right? The Heat haven't won. They haven't won since.
But they made it to the
They made it to the finals, right? In the bubble. But look at that. They didn't win since LeBron.
Right.
But every year they're one of the best teams in the league. So I think worst case, that should be the next decade of being a Knicks fan. So
we made it, guys. We made it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens over the next month or so, and then let's see what happens in the playoffs.
Let's see. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.